Welcome back to our channel, where we share the fascinating, unique and sometimes adventurous journeys of humans in exploiting and honoring the precious products that the ocean has to offer. Today, we will follow Japanese fishermen on a special hunt, the journey to catch and process a creature known as the sea dragon, the giant sea eel. This sea eel is unlike any other eel you have ever known. They can be up to 2 meters long, weigh tens of kilograms and possess thick, slippery, dark skin like wet silk, living deep in caves, coral crevices and sometimes even in shallow coastal crevices. The giant sea eel is a mysterious and dangerous creature but has high value in Japanese cuisine. The dish, unagi kabiyaki, or anagodon, grilled eel with sweet sauce, has become an indispensable culinary symbol of this country. From the very first minutes of the video, we invite you to admire the skillful scene of the chefs on the fishing boat. When the giant eels were just pulled up from the sea, they were still wriggling, their bodies smooth and supple. The processors, who can be called real artisans, used sharp knives with decisive and precise movements to cut along the eel's body, open the belly, remove the organs and bruises, then wash each piece of meat. After being pre-processed, the giant eel meat was cut into thick, long slices like an adult's hand, then marinated with soy sauce, mirin, sake and sugar, the typical recipe of traditional unagi sauce. Right on the deck of the boat, small fires were lit to start the grilling process. White smoke mixed with the characteristic aroma of the burnt eel meat. Eel fat dripping onto the grill, creating an attractive sizzling sound. The chefs use a bamboo brush dipped in the sauce and spread it evenly over the surface of the meat. Turning it over and over until the meat turns a golden brown. Soft and full of flavor, the hot grilled eel is then served on a plate of rice, sprinkled with a little Japanese pepper and green onions. Just one bite and you will understand why the Japanese adore this dish so much. After the extremely attractive eel processing, we will move on to a completely different scene, an indispensable part of the giant eel hunt, the fishing stage. Fishermen do not always use nets or hooks to catch eels. For large eels that live deep in the crevices of rocks, people are forced to use a unique method, using fresh bait to lure the eels out and drain the water. In the shallow waters off the coast of Japan, when the tide is low, cracks in the reefs or coral cavities are clearly exposed. Fishermen will use fish bait, usually fresh sardines, tied to the end of a long bamboo stick, and drop it into each crevice of the rocks. When the eel smells the bait, it will quickly crawl out of its hiding place, cling to the prey with its sharp fangs and bite tightly. At this time, the fisherman only needs to pull quickly and decisively to bring the eel out of the cave. For large caves containing many eels, especially after high tides, the method of using water pumps is applied. Fishermen bring a high-capacity pump system, place it in the mouth of large rock holes, then drain the water, drying the environment inside. When the water dries up, the eels have no choice but to show themselves. The sight of dozens of eels as big as arms, with shiny bodies, wriggling out of the holes is truly an exciting moment and sometimes gives viewers goosebumps. But not only that, catching sea eels requires smooth coordination and high technique. when an eel hides deep in a cave. Just a strong movement will quickly cause it to slide deep into small, inaccessible crevices. Therefore, the fisherman must have a sharp eye, flexible hands and incredible patience. They observe every movement of the water surface, feel the smallest pulling force from the end of the rope, and are always ready to react as soon as the eel appears. After catching the eels, the fishermen quickly bring them back to the boat for preliminary processing. The live eels are kept in tanks of seawater to keep them fresh. The next processing step is a series of quick, clean and precise actions, from removing the head and spine, to filling and marinating. Every step follows the highest food safety standards, while ensuring to retain the characteristic flavor and freshness of the eel meat. At the end of the video, you will witness the locals enjoying the giant sea eel after it is processed. Some eat it with white rice, some roll the eel with seaweed and wasabi, and some use the eel for traditional udon noodles. No matter how it is processed, the giant eel meat always brings a fatty, rich feeling, soft but not mushy, chewy but not hard, an unforgettable taste experience. The journey of catching and processing giant eels is not only a testament to the resilience, intelligence and creativity of Japanese fishermen, but also a symbol of respect for marine products. And a deep love for traditional cuisine. Each piece of eel is not simply a dish, but the crystallization of the effort, time, and spirit of people who have spent their lives attached to the ocean. If you love exciting journeys like this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel to explore more interesting things from the vast ocean with us. Thank you for watching today's video. See you in the next episodes. Would you like me to continue expanding this section to exactly 12.00 words, or split the content into multiple paragraphs to make it easier to paste into the video? You said, continued. ChatGPT said, great, we will continue the introduction, seamlessly connecting with the previous part, expanding more deeply on the work of catching giant eels, techniques, fishermen's lives, and the processing process to create specialties. Here is the next part of the introduction. Back to the journey offshore, where Japanese fishermen continue to drift in the deep blue sea to hunt for giant eels. That seemingly simple job is a series of long, hard days, requiring endurance, will and a deep understanding of the sea. On the traditional wooden boat equipped with modern machinery, each person has a separate role. From the boat driver, the person dropping the line, the person observing the bait, to the person directly pulling the eels and processing them. When dawn breaks over the sea, the first light of the day shines on each wave. It is also the time when the boats start a new day. They anchor near the coastal reefs, known as the paradise of giant eels. The underwater caves and crevices are the ideal shelter for this creature. But because of that, detecting eel caves is not easy. Fishermen have to rely on their generational experience. careful observation and instinct. The observer usually stands at the bow of the boat, eyes glued to the water surface. Just a small bubble rising, an unusual eddy or a strange sparkle under the water surface. That could be a sign of an eel moving in the hole. When detected, they mark the location and then steer the boat around several times to observe carefully before making a decision. At this time, the baiting team starts working. The sardines and small squid are tied tightly to special fishing lines, long, strong lines with thin but sharp hooks. The bait is dropped into the eel caves underwater. Then the group of fishermen sits still, observing. As soon as the eel bites the bait, the line vibrates slightly. A signal is immediately transmitted throughout the boat. The person pulling the line will use his bare hands to pull quickly to prevent the eel from escaping. Sometimes, an eel weighing up to 30 kilograms struggles, causing his entire arm to be twisted and red. But they still persevere, because each eel caught is a valuable achievement. There are days when the tide is too high, making baiting difficult. At this time, the fishermen switch to the water suction to open the cave technique. The high-capacity pump system will suck water from the rocky crevices or deep pools along the shore, causing the water level to drop. Revealing the underground cave system. When the water recedes, dozens of eels lie exposed, hidden behind the rocks, creating a scene that is both strange and attractive. Eel catchers must act quickly, using their bare hands, iron nets or bamboo hooks to control and bring the eels to shore. Sometimes, they have to wade deep into the mud. Sharp rocks cut their limbs, but they still firmly cling on. The interesting thing is that there are eels that are too big to be pulled by hand. So they have to use a seine net and need help from many people. These giant animals are often up to several decades old, considered treasures of the sea. When processed, their meat has a sweet taste, firm fibers and a layer of fat that melts like butter in the mouth. Not only in Japan, many other Asian countries such as Korea, China, Taiwan also love Japanese sea eel meat. Especially the type that is caught naturally and not farmed. Back on the boat, after each successful eel catch, the fishermen immediately process it to keep it as fresh as possible. The boat is divided into areas. One side is the cleaning and meat filtering area. The other side is the grilling area, and finally the packaging and preservation area. The cleaning process is very thorough. They use a knife to cut across the body, remove the head, and then pull out the nearly 1 meter long spine. The eel meat is then soaked in light salt water and washed with natural seawater. Fresh eel meat has a light pink color, even white veins, feels smooth to the touch, and does not stick to the hands. That is a sign of absolute freshness. On some specialized boats, the chef will marinate the eel according to his own secret recipe. Some people use a mixture of soy sauce, sake, and minced ginger to remove the fishy smell. while others choose miso sauce mixed with roasted sesame seeds to create a rich flavor. Under the charcoal fire, each slice of eel is slowly grilled for nearly 20 minutes. Each time the fish is flipped, an additional layer of fragrant sauce is brushed on. When finished, the eel is a shiny brown, with a charred outer layer and a soft, juicy interior that is soaked in sauce. The final product is packaged in wooden boxes or vacuum-sealed plastic trays and shipped to the mainland to be served at high-end restaurants or exported abroad. A portion of unagi kabiyaki can be sold for between 2 million Vietnamese dongs and 5 million Vietnamese dongs at restaurants in Tokyo, Seoul or Shanghai, and even more expensive in some places if the eel is hand-caught from the cleanest waters in Japan. Behind the appeal of fatty eel meat is the hard work, sweat and sometimes blood of the fishermen. They are not just fishermen, they are people who understand the sea, live with the sea and pass on that spirit to future generations. Everyday stories, hasty meals by the waves, encounters with storms, or even joyful moments when pulling in a giant eel, all truly depict their drifting but proud life. On a small boat drifting in the middle of the ocean, men in wet shirts soaked with salt are still diligently doing their work. Each giant eel brought up is a worthy reward after many minutes of patience. Watching every wave and every breath of the ocean, in the harsh sun or the cold mist, they still do not take their hands off their work, because for them, this is not simply a job, but a way of life, a love for the ocean. When not fishing, they gather together, prepare tools, share a simple meal on the deck, or simply chat about the eel season last year, about which cave has a lot of fish, or remember the time an eel bit them and almost lost a finger. Those stories are not noisy, not colorful, but carry the flavor of the sea, genuine, deep and full of humanity. The job of catching eels is not for those who are in a hurry. Eels are intelligent, very sensitive to light, sound and water currents. If you don't understand their habits, when they hunt, or how they hide in crevices, even if you stand in the middle of a sea full of eels, you won't catch anything. That's why the Japanese have long passed down their own secrets, traditional methods that no machine can replace. And eel is not a dish that anyone can easily prepare. If not prepared properly, the eel meat can be fishy, mushy, or even poisonous if the mucus and blood glands are not properly removed. Traditional chefs understand that. They use knives not only with their hands, but with their hearts. Every cut, every marinade, every grilling step shows respect for the ingredients, and the care they take in each dish they make. The Japanese have a very profound culinary philosophy. Food is not for eating, but for feeling. For them, eating a piece of eel is not just about enjoying the delicious taste. It is about feeling the effort of the fisherman, the sacrifice of the ocean, and the spirit of preserving traditional values. When a portion of eel is placed on a bowl of white rice, served with seaweed, pickled radish and a cup of warm miso soup, it is no longer a normal meal, but a harmony of nature and people. The eel meat is soft and smooth, soaked in rich sauce. Each piece of meat seems to melt in the mouth. Each piece of eel is a reminder of the sea, of life continuing far out at sea. At seafood markets in Japan, you will see beautifully displayed trays of grilled eel, carefully wrapped in traditional washi paper, or packed in rustic wooden boxes. Each portion of eel can be a gift for relatives, or a gift for yourself, as a small reward after tiring working days. Eel is